Just, muttering that to my team. And if I had to start impressioning some Tim.
Hi, everyone. Hi, welcome. It's so good to see you guys. My name is Julie Estee. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer here at Matanuska Electric Association, and I'll be your MC this afternoon. We're really excited to see all of you guys gathered here at the Glen Massey Theater. We've been trying to get this venue for years, but there's always been a production, a performance of some sort, but this year we beat them all, and we scored this spot. So it's lovely, and we just want to thank the people at the Glen Massey Theater for accommodating us. We also appreciate your flexibility. As many of you may have realized, this is an earlier time for us, and in hearing feedback on our member surveys, as well as taking a look around at different community events, we noticed this afternoon time was something that people were requesting more often. So we're trying it out this year, and we look forward to your feedback to see how you liked it. So it's great to see all of you here. There's also a bunch of people on Zoom. The last time we checked, there was over 400 people registered on Zoom. So ever since COVID, we've been learning who's going to show up in person and who wants to join us on Zoom. It just really allows for you all, the members, to make a choice for how you want to join us. So we will begin our meeting with the presentation of colors presented by the Boy Scout Troop 378 of Sutton. And our national anthem will be played by the talented Scott Green. He's actually one of our member service representatives. Please rise and remove any hats in honor of our flag, and please remain standing at attention until the colors have been retired following the performance of our anthem.
Color guard attention. Color guard mark. Color guard hold. Color guard present the color. Color guard box face. Color guard full yard. Color guard hold. Color guard post to color. Color guard dismiss.
All right, thanks to Boy Scout Troop 378 and Scott. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but they have these, what's tying their scarf, they made special MEA, I don't even know what they're called, what are slides. So, and that was done by the troop leader and his wife. So we really appreciate that effort, and for them coming all the way from Sutton, and from Scott, who got out of his call center desk today and brought his trumpet to work instead. So we really appreciate both of them. At MEA, safety is our top priority, and we begin every meeting with a safety moment. For this meeting safety moment, I would like everyone to take a moment to recognize the emergency exits around the room. There's some in the back, on the sides, and over here as well. Our safety manager, Frank Adams, is also here on site. If anyone has any needs or needs assistance, please reach out to him. We also have an AED and first aid kit on hand for any type of emergency. So if you're joining us in person, please make sure that you have registered at the front desk in order to receive your $10 bill credit. If you're a member in the Susitna East or the Susitna West districts, and where the elections are taking place this year, and have not already voted online or by mail, you can get a ballot here, and registration will be closing in a few minutes. So you can use those ballots to vote up until about 5 minutes after the candidate speeches. Now, if you're joining us on Zoom this afternoon, you were registered prior to the meeting and do not need to do anything further. But please note that only members that are in person here can vote at the annual meeting in the election. So online voting in Smart Hub, if you voted online through your Smart Hub account, that closed yesterday at 5 p.m. And mail-in ballots were accepted until 5 p.m. yesterday as well. So for the folks here who still haven't voted, you're going to have the opportunity in a few minutes to hear candidate speeches from the 2 different district boards that are up for election. And then voting will close about 5 minutes after that. So this afternoon, as I mentioned, we are using the Zoom webinar platform, which means that there's different types of Zoom, and this is called the webinar platform, which means that members are unable to share or show their video or audio. However, they can raise their hand to vote by pressing the raise hand icon if you're on a computer, or by pressing *9 if you're calling on the phone. Our annual meeting coordinator, Sabrina Combs, will provide additional instruction in the chat box on Zoom for all of you joining us online. Members will only be called to speak during member comment portion of the meeting. Also, for our members on Zoom that have questions, you can utilize the Q&A box during the meeting. Now I'd like to introduce our MEA Board of Directors seated on the stage. We have Board President and Susitna West District Director, Bill Kendig. Vice President and Matanuska District Director, Mark Masteller. Our Secretary, Treasurer, and Director-at-Large, Dan Tucker, could not be here. He's traveling, but he still deserves a little round of applause. Absolutely. We have Director-at-Large, Arthur Keyes. Director-at-Large, Anastasia Beretta. Eagle River District Director, Mark Ham. And Susitna East District Director, Maxwell Sumner. And I just want to take an extra second to say thank you to this team of board members. They're members just like you who stepped up and threw their hat in to be a member of the board. And they give a lot of hours each year to make sure that your voices are represented. So make sure that you connect with them, let them know your thoughts. They're representing you on this board. I would also like to introduce the members of our executive team at MEA, starting with our CEO, Tony Izzo, who you'll be hearing from later in the meeting. We have Ed Jenkin, our Chief Energy Transformation Officer. Brad? Matt Reisterer, our Chief Financial Officer. Tony Zellers, our Chief Operating Officer. Justin Patterson, our Chief Administrative Officer. And we have David Peace, our General Counsel, on Zoom. And we will all be here after the meeting if you have specific questions for us. I'd also like to introduce our board support staff, starting with our meeting parliamentarian, Andy Lehman, and Board Secretary, Don Bayham. I'd now like to invite President Bill Kendig to the podium to call the business meeting to order and get the annual meeting officially underway. Bill.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Kende. I'm your MEA Board President. I also represent members of the Mississippi West District, and I call this annual meeting to order at 3:12 p.m. First item of business, we have the certification of quorum, and it's my understanding we do have a quorum with 410 members, a little over 208 online and 202 here in the boardroom. The next item of business is the approval of the agenda. If you are in person and are offering a motion, please raise your voter card and state your name for the record of call upon. If you are on Zoom and would like to offer a motion, please raise your hand by pressing raise hand icon if you're on a computer, or by pressing *9 if you're calling on a phone. May I have a motion to approve the agenda? Can you state your name? Linda Menard Post. Do I have a second? Can you state your name? Jude Johnson, second the motion. Okay. Is there any objection? Okay, the motion is approved. All right, the next item of business is a notice of the annual meeting. Director Master will now read the certification of that notice of the MEA 2024 annual meeting.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Director Dan Tucker, who's our secretary, I'm going to be the official MEA 2024 annual meeting notice. Notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 3, Sections 1 and 3 of the bylaws of the Matanuska Electric Association, Incorporated, that the annual membership meeting of the association will be held on Tuesday, the 30th of April, 2024 at the Glen Massey Theater and online through Zoom. Doors will open and registration will begin at 2 p.m. and the business meeting will begin at 3 p.m. Dated at Palmer, Alaska, this 11th day of March 2024, signed by Dan Tucker.
Thank you, Director Masteller. MEA's bylaws require a reading of draft minutes of the previous meeting of the members and taking the necessary action unless the members vote to dispense with such reading. If you are in person and would like to offer a motion to dispense with a reading of the minutes, please raise your voter card and state your name for the record if you're called upon. If you are on Zoom and would like to offer a motion, please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand icon if you're on a computer, or by pressing *9 if you were calling on a phone. Do I hear a motion to dispense with the reading of and to approve the 2023 annual membership minutes as drafted?
I can do.
Do I have a motion to approve? Okay. We got first and a second. Is there any objection? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries. We have a report of the election procedures. We will now hear from our election overseer, Crystal Stanley from Fossilman and Associates, who will provide the membership with a report on the 2024 election procedures.
Good afternoon. I am Crystal Stanley from Fossilman Associates CPAs, and we serve as MEA's independent election overseer. In fulfilling this role, we perform several procedures to maintain strict control over the paper and electronic balloting. On March 20th, 2024, we received 22,800 blank ballots from the printer. We verified the number of ballots received by weighing them, and the ballots were then turned over to the mailing house. On April 3rd, we tested the election packages before they were mailed by counting the packages and a sample of the bins, counting the total number of bins, and estimating the total number of ballots mailed. We also took possession of the rest of the unused ballots, which were secured into our office. We were able to verify that 22,244 ballots were delivered to and mailed by the post office. Starting April 9th through April 29th, our staff picked up ballots at the post office, oversaw the signature verification process, turned off electronic voting for the members who voted on paper, and secured the ballots in a locked closet at our office. This morning, under dual control, we transported the ballots from the secured closet to our conference room, where the counting of paper ballots was performed and observed by the election committee. These ballots were then secured back into the closet, and this evening, any member who hasn't voted still had a chance to vote on a meeting day ballot. These votes will be tabulated tonight, added to the mailed and electronic votes, and final results calculated. I'd like to thank all the members that participated, and I'd like to thank the election committee who donated their time in helping us.
Thank you, Crystal, for that report. I will now invite our Chief Strategy Officer, Julie Esty, back to the podium to introduce our district board seat candidates and hear their speeches.
Thank you, President Kendig. We'll now provide this year's district board seat candidates with the opportunity to speak to you all. Candidates will have up to 3 minutes to provide their statement. As a reminder, in-person voting for eligible members at this meeting will close approximately 5 minutes after the last candidate's speech. For members joining us on Zoom, you will not be able to cast a vote at this time, as online voting for district board seats closed yesterday at 5 p.m. All eligible members that are located within the districts received election materials in the mail with candidate information and candidate video statements that were provided online when the election opened on April 4th. There are 2 district seats up for election, including the Susitna East and the Susitna West districts, and a total of 5 candidates. The MEA Bylaw Committee did not recommend any amendments to appear on the ballot in 2024. So, without further ado, we will begin our candidate speeches going in alphabetical order, starting with our Susitna East district. And the Susitna East district is really, you can think about it like Wasilla proper. So it's the core of Wasilla. And our first candidate to address the membership will be Susitna East district candidate Daniel Baldwin. Daniel.
Thank you all for having me here today. I am honored to be here in front of you on the cusp of potentially winning the chance to represent you. I hope that everyone here has voted, and if not, there's still a chance to vote. And thank you all for voting. And everyone online, thank you for voting as well. I deeply appreciate all of your commitment to the electoral process. And I hope to be able to represent the Susitna East District in the coming years. Thank you, and hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much, Daniel, and thanks again for throwing your hat in the ring. Next, we have our Susitna East District candidate, Maxwell Sumner.
Good afternoon, fellow owner members. I want to start out by thanking the hardworking staff and administration at MEA. There's a lot of hard work that goes into this meeting in particular, as well as just keeping the lights on every day. And that's really what this election is all about, keeping the lights on. It's no secret that we're at a transitional period for energy in South Central Alaska. The clean and cheap natural gas and Cook Inlet is dwindling. And there's a lot of outside pressure from Washington to rapidly transition to renewable energy. What you are all here today to do well, not all of you, just the ones from Susitna East and Susitna West District. But what you're here to do today is to vote for a board member who you believe is going to be the best steward and leader for our cooperative. To answer the question of which board member best looks out for your interests, so let me answer that question for you. My experience on the board currently, my training as a credentialed cooperative director, and my experience as a small business owner gives me the tools to weigh the decisions that will be facing us in the near future, make a determination that ensures affordable, reliable, and safe power. Renewables have an important role in our power generation mix. Bradley Lakes and including the hydro projects have the cheapest, safest, and most reliable power available to MEA. Alaska is an oil and gas state, with a lot of jobs relying on hydrocarbons. So renewable adoption at any cost is not the answer. Every project should be judged on its own merits and with common sense. As a builder and a father of 2 young children, I want to make decisions that grow our economy and keep our community a vibrant and great place to raise a family, the same as I had growing up here. So you're casting your vote today. Please choose me, Maxwell Sumner. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maxwell. This concludes our Susitna East District candidates, and we will now move on to our Susitna West District candidates. And that district really goes from around KGB and then up the western side of Wasilla and all the way north up to our northernmost point, which is in the South Denali Park. So that's a big district. And we appreciate the 3 candidates that have put their names forward. The first we will hear from is Bill Kendig.
Wow, it's hard to believe it's been 8 years since I've been on this board. And we've gone through a lot of controversy, but this, I can't say enough for the MEA, their entire staff from top to bottom. I mean, it weather, and these guys are out there. You see a snow machine out front with me. These guys, can you imagine 30 below, blizzard, and they're out there keeping your lights on. So let's give those people a hand. Give our linemen a hand. So but we are facing an energy crisis, hopefully short-term need for natural gas. But so we need to diversify our fuel supply. With carbon capture, you know, I won't go into details, but with carbon capture, there's all kind of opportunities out there that we can get after. And wind and solar has its place. It's just that you may have heard the 100 megawatt wind and solar a little bit further north are doing the studies, and it's not costing us anything. They're doing it with grants from the federal government, and that's okay. But when they tell you 100 megawatts, what I like to finish the sentence, like, oh, Harbor's is the rest. We live in Alaska. That 100 megawatts, it really translates into about 30% of that. That's all we're capable of. Of course, it does have its place. Say in the summer, once a project like that gets done, if it gives us 5% of our fuel we need in the summer, 5 or 10% of our fuel we need in the summer, and we can save that much natural gas and store it for our high demand in the winter, well, then it certainly has its place. But all of it, no matter what we use, it has to be safe, reliable, and affordable. And especially, well, all of it. That's our mission statement at MEA, and that's what the board has done since I've been on there the last 8 years, to try to realize that. So I'd appreciate your vote, and it's just I've been on here 8 years, and we're in an energy crisis, and it's experience. We need experience and leadership right now, so I appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Mr. Kendig. We now have Susitna West Board candidate Darren Kessler. Yeah.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Darren Kessler, obviously. I've been advocating for pro-business the whole time I've been running. I think that the Matt Valley has a huge opportunity to have quite a bit of investment, and it starts with power generation. As Bill said, we're in an energy crisis right now, and the next 4 years are going to be very vital to our sustainability on the natural gas and the renewables and all the other avenues we're going to need to look at. And I agree with Bill. I think leadership is going to be really important. I don't come from the energy sector. I come from the trucking sector of Alaska. So kind of the oddball out here. So I kind of wanted to reiterate that I'm the guy with probably the ideas that aren't exactly, in line with everybody else's. But other than that, no, I just wanted to also appreciate everybody's coming out. It's really important for us all to be here, be at these meetings, attend. And I want to reiterate also what Max and Bill said. MEA, the people that work at MEA, they're amazing people. I mean, I was telling Jennifer the other day, just even, the Facebook posts about when our power is going to be back on, I love it. So anyways, I hope to get some of your guys' votes this year, and look forward to seeing you later in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. And finally, our final candidate for this who sit in the West District is Henrik Wessel.
Hi, thank you. So I came to Alaska when I was 17 from Norway. I flew by myself, came with the train up to Denali Park and flew out to a remote hunting camp on the Wood River, where I spent 2 months on horseback all over the Wood River, the Anert, Healy Creek, Cody, and the Moody. Anyways, I totally fell in love with Alaska. And so I applied for the university in Fairbanks and ended up getting accepted, and eventually got my master's from the university in Fairbanks, and started working for Golden Valley Electric, where I was the environmental officer overlooking all the power plants in Healy, North Pole, Delta, and Fairbanks, ensuring that they were complying with their operating permits. And I was also involved with building the battery energy storage system in 2003, which in Fairbanks was the largest battery in the world at that time. I think now it's not even in the top 100, but I was involved in the Eva Creek wind farm, which is now the largest wind farm in Alaska. And there were some big mistakes they did back then, and I feel I have a lot of experience and could be a good asset to the board when we're now looking at new projects. There's some major wind farms we're looking at, and I have a lot of input. Carbon capture. There's also a lot of challenges with carbon capture. So anyways, I want to thank the MEA board. I want to thank Tony Itzo. You've been very kind to all of us. I want to especially thank Jennifer and Sabrina. They have been wonderful to us. I've felt like I've been very welcome. So if you haven't voted, I'd really appreciate it if you vote for me. But either way, I just want to thank all the members too. Thank you very much.
Have to move this microphone down. There's tall people. I am not one of them. Well, thanks again to all the candidates for putting their name up and being willing to step up and run your electric cooperative. We literally couldn't do it without our members stepping up and taking that responsibility. So we appreciate it. So as a reminder, in-person voting will close in 5 minutes, so we won't feel like it's rude if you need to get up and cast your ballot. We want to make sure everybody's voice gets heard in the election. So make sure you get that done. So the next item on the agenda is the reports from the different board committees. So not only does the board come and attend the board meetings and be prepared for that, they all each serve on different committees overlooking different components of our business. So we'll now start with our audit committee with committee chair Mark Masteller.
Thank you, Julie. My name is Mark Masteller, and I'm the Matanuska District Director and the Committee Chair for the Audit Committee on your MEA Board of Directors. The Audit Committee plays a crucial role in ensuring transparency, accountability, and good governance within our electric cooperative. As a committee, we provide oversight to things such as financial reporting, internal controls, and compliance to make sure the best practices, policies, and standards are in place. We work to improve our member confidence by providing assurances that financial reporting is accurate and transparent, and that we are facilitating continuous improvement by evaluating operational efficiency and recommending changes to policies and procedures as needed. During the past few months, the Audit Committee met to review MEA's 2023 financial statement audit in correspondence with our auditor, Moss Adams LLP. The assignable margins at the end of 2023 were $10,173,570, and total assets at year end were $648,607,265. After a thorough audit, the professionals at Moss Adams did not report any significant errors or irregularities and issued a clean opinion letter on last year's financial statements. The Audit Committee recommended to the MEA Board to accept the 2023 financial statements, and the Board approved them at our regular March Board meeting. Additionally, the Audit Committee recommended to update a policy concerning expenditure of association funds when it comes to procurement and contracting threshold levels. These policy updates are estimated to result in an annual labor savings of more than $300,000 and encourage increased bidder interest for MEA's request for bids. After discussion and consideration of the proposed policy changes, the MEA Board approved the Audit Committee's policy updates at the March 2024 Board meeting. This concludes my audit report. Thank you, and I will now invite Director Ham up to provide the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Director Masteller. Again, my name is Mark Ham, and I represent Eagle River. I've been asked to share that voting is now officially closed. I also am the current chair of the MEA Board Finance Committee, and keeping the financial health of our co-op strong is one of the board's top priorities, and providing affordable power is part of our mission statement. Our co-op is a not-for-profit, member-owned cooperative, so it's our responsibility to recover only the costs of what it takes to produce and provide power to our homes and businesses, and to maintain the operations and reliability of our power systems. I would like to highlight a few areas of our 2023 balance sheet. At the end of 2023, our total assets were $648,607,263. Our total liabilities were $451,315,811. Our ending patronage capital was $191,549,607. Complete copies of our audited financial statements are available upon request by any of our members. When we break down how each dollar was earned by our co-op in 2023, 62 cents came from residential sales, 37 cents came from commercial sales, 1 cent came from lighting and other sales. We'd also like to provide our membership with a snapshot of how each dollar was spent in 2023. Our co-op's biggest expense is fuel and purchase power, which makes up 33 cents. Our next is depreciation at 15 cents and maintenance operations at 13 cents. 11 cents was spent on interest and long-term debt. 10 cents was spent on power production, and only 9 cents of each dollar was spent on administration and employee costs. 6 cents on margins and 3 cents on other costs. In 2023, we were able to return more than $3.7 million in capital credits to our members. $3.2 million of that was approved as a general retirement of capital credits owed back to 1988 co-op members using the first in, first out method. The remaining capital credits went to settle previous member estates. Several years ago, After the Clutha Power Plant was built, the Matanuska Electric Association Board developed an equity management plan to help build the financial strength of our co-op. An initial equity target was set for 30% by 2024, and I'm pleased to report that we achieved that target early in 2023. A new equity target was set at 40% by year 2036. I'm pleased to report that your co-op currently sits at 31% equity, and we are well on track to meet our goal. Having these equity targets gives our co-op a strong financial position and allows us to take advantage of strategic opportunities as we work to develop our energy future. This concludes my Board Finance Committee report, and I'd like to invite Director Kendig to come up and share his president report.
Thank you, Director Ham. In 2023, the MEA Board updated and advanced our strategic plan. We also realigned and established our vision for the future while being mindful of the changing needs of our members and the opportunities for our co-ops as we continue to evolve as an industry and a cooperative. There are some main values that we want to maintain as we work toward our strategic priorities. First, as the gas supply in the Cook Inlet remains uncertain, we want to ensure our sources of energy are diverse and resilient to meet the growing needs and changing demands. As we diversify our energy portfolio, we will increase our clean energy solutions without sacrificing safety, affordability, and reliability. And while we recognize you don't have a choice in your electric provider, we strive to ensure MEA's members are truly happy to be part of this cooperative. In addition, it is important that our key stakeholders trust us to have the best interest of our members at heart, and we have the confidence to provide for their needs. We believe our success depends on relationships. It's key that MEA maintains a leadership role and develops partnerships to advance railbelt policy, collaboration, and opportunities. Finally, and most importantly, our employees internally, it is critical to our future success that MEA's employees are empowered to drive ownership, innovation, and efficiency across the organization. I would like to share the main highlights of our updated board strategic plan. First, maintain strong financial position. As you heard in the committee reports earlier, the financial health of our cooperative is strong. This has us well positioned to address the challenges ahead and take advantage of opportunities for the long-term benefit of our members. As part of the strategic initiative, this year, the board affirmed our equity management plan. We will also investigate other rate designs to ensure financial stability and maintain affordable power for our members. Next is the address and plan for key strategic challenges. And as you will hear more from Tony, soon we have many. Our number one priority is to establish and execute a comprehensive plan for gas supply. MEA's goal is short-term certainty and long-term flexibility in our gas supply. Related to that, we will develop and execute an energy diversification plan that decreases our reliance on a single source of energy, but is yet reliable and feasible, and could ultimately allow for downward pressure on rates. As a first step in this process, the MEA board set a clean energy target to be 50% clean energy by the year 2050. We want to continue setting targets that are focused on the future sustainability of our co-op and the state while remaining achievable and mindful of the reliability and cost priorities to our members. Another element of our strategic plan is a best-in-class workplace. I am constantly amazed by MEA staff throughout the organization. They are top-notch, and we want to ensure that they have what they need to do such a great job. And I'm going to go a little bit off script. I just can't tell you enough about Tony and his staff, all the way down to the people that accept the money for your bill. They are consummate professionals, and you're in good hands. To help us get through these future energy challenges and opportunities, we know we must retain, attract, and develop a talented, high-performance workforce at MEA. We're fortunate to have the level of skilled, knowledgeable, and committed employees that we currently do, and we don't want them going anywhere. We will continue to prioritize safety and an incident injury-free workplace while developing and realigning policies and processes that will help empower employees and not hinder them in doing their great work. The last component of our updated strategic plan is to be there when our members need us. Most of you guys don't think about us too often, but when you go to turn on the lights at home or open your business up for the day, we don't want to let you down. We know that reliability is the most important thing to our members when it comes to their power. We will continue to improve and prioritize reliable services and working to reduce annual outages and the number of members affected by outages year over year. When we do have an outage, we want to be there as quickly as possible with skilled crews that can safely resolve the issues and get you back to your day. It's also important to your board that we maintain a positive and active presence in the communities we serve and support the organization and events that make living here special. And most importantly, we want to be your trusted energy advisor. The industry is changing and you have more and more choices and questions. We want to be your main resource and a place you can turn to get solid information. If you have ideas or thoughts on how we can better serve you, we invite you to come share those with us at our regular MEA board meetings. We meet every second Monday of the month at 4 p.m. and members can attend our board meetings in person or on Zoom. That concludes my report. It's been an honor and a privilege serving as your MEA board president. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Yeah, okay. I told you they were awake. Well, you'll be challenged now. My name is Tony Izzo. I'm the CEO for Matanuska Electric. I've been in this is my 9th annual meeting, or my 9th year in this position. I have about 12 slides for you that I want to walk through to give you some details or further details based on what you just heard from the board. Thank you, President Kindig. Thank you, MEA directors. Folks, the bottom line is that MEA is at a pivotal moment in our co-op's history. We're the oldest co-op in the state of Alaska, formed in 1941. That continues to amaze me, the oldest. And we're probably about the second largest, and we're the only growing co-op in the state. We have a lot of big challenges ahead of us, but also many big opportunities as well. Some of the topics I'm going to talk to you about today in my report are things that you may have heard snippets about either in the news or over the past year. Issues that surround our gas supply uncertainty, how we're navigating toward a cleaner energy future while keeping costs low and the lights on. There's a variety of different things going on, and the staff at MEA and your board are working very hard to achieve our co-op's mission day in and day out. And that mission, again, as stated earlier, is to provide safe, reliable, and affordable power without sacrificing exceptional member service that we're always seeking to improve on. The first topic that I'm going to dive into is fuel supply. Natural gas has long been a cornerstone of our energy portfolio, providing a reliable and affordable source of power to our members. At last year's meeting, I shared that we received news from Hilcorp, our gas supplier, that their supply of natural gas to us is no longer guaranteed when our contract runs out, which is April 1 of 2028. So currently we have the lowest price gas contract, I would argue the best gas contract, and that's terrific until we get to March 31 of 2028, because on the very next day, we don't have any gas under contract. With 84% of our power produced today with natural gas from the Cook Inlet, this is obviously a critical issue. The clock is ticking, and it's imperative that we take the initiative and proactive steps to ensure the stability and sustainability of our future natural gas supply. I'm going to pause a minute and talk about natural gas. and give you some perspective, because really what we have is a two-pronged plan where we are on a parallel path to obtain and secure natural gas going forward, as well as to diversify our fuel supply and find other sources of energy so that we can be a more diverse supplier of energy while keeping rates down. And here's an example. There's even legislation pending before Juneau that would like to impose an 80% renewable target on utilities by the year 2040. And I'm not here to tell you that's good or bad. I'm just telling you that that's what it says, 80% renewable by 2040, and MEA is currently at 16% renewable. If we don't reach those targets by 2040, we're looking at fines in upwards of, in the mid $30 million range, about $34 million that would be paid for by you, our member owners. So we've done math and we determined that if we could even meet the 80% target by 2040, we would still need half of the natural gas that we're using today. So that's why you're going to hear me talk about gas and why it's so critical. We've been approaching this from every single angle. We're working in partnership with the other utilities, including NSTAR Natural Gas. We're just wrapping up a detailed analysis of different options for gas, whether that is squeezing more out of the Cook Inlet, bringing gas down from the North Slope, or importing what's called liquefied natural gas, or LNG. We're doing a deep dive into the timelines, the costs, and the risks, and are planning to make a decision by the end of the second quarter of this year. Our goal in this first decision is for short-term certainty and long-term flexibility. We want to have a bridge in place that we can count on for the next 10 years, speaking of natural gas, and also the flexibility to move forward with more diversified energy portfolio. If you think about it, if 84% of our power supply is natural gas, and that gas can't get through that pipeline, whether it's an earthquake or some other reason, that is a situation that is no longer acceptable. It's imprudent. And so we need to diversify other sources of energy. And I'll talk a little bit in a minute about the board's goal for that. Our goal in the first decision, as I said, is short-term certainty. And then again, we want to have a bridge so that we have for about 10 years, and then the flexibility to move forward. I'm going to talk a little bit about options, and the good news is there are many different options as we look to our energy future. Alaska is rich in resources, and new technologies are here and on the horizon. The bad news is that each option has trade-offs, and most take more time to develop than any of us would like to see. This slide shows a list of most of the options that we're exploring. I won't go through them all, but for example, on the bottom left, you'll see importing LNG. This option may be the best short-term option to bridge us to a more diverse energy supply portfolio. As trade-offs, we need to be willing to accept higher costs. That's the worst thing that I ever want to be up here talking to you all about, is higher costs. But in a short term, we need a short-term solution. And how can we, for example, how can we keep LNG imports as temporary as possible and keep our investment low so that we can maintain flexibility to transition out of that when we're ready to implement other projects into our system? And I'll talk about some of those. We're looking at larger scale solar and wind. And while these are becoming more economic and scalable, they are not, as Bill Kindig mentioned, they're not firm sources of power, and so they represent some challenges to us. And when I say firm, I mean are there to provide you the power that you need 24/7, whether the wind's blowing or it's dark out in the winter, no matter what. What are we going to do to supplement these renewables when it isn't windy or sunny, and our members need their power the most? There are long-term options we're looking at, such as geothermal and tidal and even nuclear. But these take a long time for planning and permitting, and they won't be viable options for our upcoming 4-year deadline. And I think it's just critical to be transparent with you in terms of the situation that we are in. Good news is we don't have to figure all of this out on our own. Throughout this process, we'll be building strong partnerships with our utility neighbors. We're collaborating with local and state leaders on a daily basis, fostering a culture of innovation together. The more we can leverage our collective expertise and resources to address these complex challenges, the more we'll be able to reduce costs, lower risk, and develop a resilient energy future. It's really a critical priority for our co-op and requires a multifaceted approach and long-term strategic planning. The next topic I'm going to highlight is energy diversification. Sometimes we call it fuel supply diversification. No matter what kind of portfolio you manage, diversification is the key, and MEA wants to move beyond putting the majority of our power generation in one resource basket. Remember, that basket today is 84% natural gas, 16% hydro, and actually 14, I'll get into that. I'm jumping ahead. In order to improve our reliability and resiliency, we must add additional sources of power to our portfolio. As I mentioned, our massive great state provides many options for us to choose from. However, we must be selective in our path forward to energy diversification to ensure that our limited power system can deliver on our priorities of reliability and put downward pressure on rates. In our member surveys, we hear you loud and clear. You'd like us to produce more power with clean energy, but not at the risk of increased costs or decreased reliability. Last year, the board set a target, as our board president mentioned, of 50% clean energy by year 2050. I can tell you from direct experience that the board set that target as a reasonable goal, but if there's an opportunity to exceed that target and provide reliable power at low cost, we're going to do that. We're not going to wait. Setting a clean energy target gives us flexibility to add in diverse sources of power that can combine future innovation with new ways of using our natural gas power. I'll talk about next renewable portfolio. Let's take a look at where our diversification baseline is now. I mentioned we're currently 16% that's generated by renewable power. Most of it, 14 of that 16, is from our hydro generation resources, including Hydro and Bradley Lake. It's important to note the uniqueness of those hydro resources and how they recently got us through a 10-day extreme. That was an accident. I wasn't doing that on purpose to make sure that those of you that have fallen asleep already were still awake. So as I was mentioning, 14 of the 16% is hydro from Hydro and Bradley Lake. Those resources are really critical, and they got us through that 10-day cold snap earlier in the year over the winter, where we were also experiencing gas delivery, or what the term of art is, deliverability issues in South Central Alaska. At the end of January, we all really experienced negative temperatures as cold as 45 below zero, and at least in some parts of our service territory. Coincidentally, at the same time, there's a gas storage facility in Cook Inlet down in the Kenai Peninsula that was experiencing pressure issues while gas consumption was at its peak. It was really cold, and people turn up the thermostat and want to be warm and keep the lights on. Well, because of Hydro and Bradley Lake Hydro is firm, clean energy, we were able to access that power during the cold snap instead of having to switch to something like diesel, which our power plant could burn diesel, which is approximately 3 times as expensive. Now that those days are over and the sun is out again, well, it was out this morning, but most of the snow is gone. Let's talk about our solar generation. Last fall, the state's largest solar farm at 8.5 megawatts came online in our service area. This project is producing enough energy that 8.5 megawatts is equivalent to about 1,400 homes. The Houston Solar Farm was developed by a private group called Renewable IPP, and IPP is an acronym for Independent Power Producer. So MEA does not own this project. We just have contractual rights to all the power that it delivers. It was done at no cost to our members because it was a private development. It's a great example of a successful project and a partnership that diversifies our energy mix without sacrificing affordability to you, our co-op members. Over the past few years, we've seen much more adoption of solar and wind among residential and small business members, and we're pleased to share that between both rooftop solar and generation from independent power producers, we now get about 10 megawatts of solar. We now have about 10 megawatts of solar capacity on our system. As these costs continue to come down, we anticipate more of our members adding personal generation to their homes and businesses in the future. And as I mentioned earlier, we are looking also at some large-scale renewable projects, including a large-scale wind farm that would benefit the rail belt, meaning the utilities from Kenai Peninsula to Fairbanks, that would benefit the rail belt, as well as some additional solar farm expansion projects within our service territory. While we can't always count on the power being there for this non-firm type of power, solar and wind, especially during our higher peak loads when it's really cold, these can still play an important role in filling in the gaps and stretching out our gas supply. And we'll continue to share news as these things develop. But I'm going to, Bill said he was going to go off script, and I've got some recent information that I want to share with you all. Because we're looking at this large wind project in the interior and one in partnership with True Gas Electric at Little Mountain Sioux, what we're finding is that the larger scale projects bring in economy of scale, and the prices of that power are at or below our current costs. The same can be said for the Houston Solar Farm. You pay less for that power than you do for natural gas-fired power. And so, for example, as Bill Kidnick mentioned, and he touched on this briefly, I want to expand on it, is, so let's say there's a 100 megawatt solar farm and it's got 35% capacity, meaning we get about 35 megawatts out of it. And we might not get it exactly when we want it, when it's dark or it's cold, but when we get it, we're not burning natural gas, and we can put that gas into storage, and we can have that gas when we need it during the really peak cold periods of time. If we can do all of that while keeping your rates at or below what they are today, I define that as success. So I'm going to talk about the leadership restructure, because to proactively address MEA's significant challenges during this major transformation in the power industry, I reorganized the executive team last year. And I'll take just a minute to introduce you to the changes in our senior leadership at MEA. I want to mention that I have 6 direct reports. I've got 4 of them that were impacted by this change on the slide. Let's see, 3 are here. 4 are here, and 1 is online. If you included myself, 7 of us, we have a total of 177 years in the utility and energy business. First up, I'll talk about Ed Jenkins. He's over on the left. Ed is our Chief Energy Transformation Officer. In this role, he'll lead the exploration and implementation of new and proven technologies. He'll also help develop the tech course for energy diversification in collaboration with the rest of the railroad utilities. Ed is co-leader of a strategic implementation team that is led along with Julie Estes. Julie is next. Julie is our Chief Strategy Officer. As she introduced herself, she oversees the development of our long-term strategic initiatives that Board President Bill Kidnick highlighted earlier. She also leads our external efforts regarding legislation, key partnerships, and collaboration with other railroad utilities, and is focused on solving issues with the institutional, political, and structural constraints as we navigate our path to a new energy future. Moving across, Justin Patterson is our Chief Administration Officer. He oversees human resources, safety, process improvement, and our member services at MEA is tasked with strategic initiative of developing a best-in-class workplace, also providing the highest level of member service to each of you and meeting our members' needs. All the way over on the your right would be Tony Sellers, our Chief Operating Officer. He's responsible for power supply, that means generation, power delivery, getting it over the wire meter, and ensuring the reliability of our system. Tony has served in many key operational roles over the years, brings a diverse background in daily operations of our co-op. Not listed up here is our Chief Financial Officer, Matt Raster, and Legal Counsel, David Pease, who round out the executive team at MEA. I'm confident that the expertise, commitment, and determination of this group and those that work with them will lead to achieving the goals that the board has set for us. Let's talk about rail belt collaboration, which means getting along with the neighboring utilities. As I mentioned earlier, we can't do this alone. Economies of scale that are just critical to keep rates down and reliability up. It's cheaper, it's safer, and it's more efficient with other utilities who are experiencing the same challenges that we are. We work together with rail belt utilities, starting with Homer Electric on the Kenai Peninsula, all the way up to Golden Valley Electric, based in the interior of Fairbanks. Currently, we purchase and sell power between these utilities when it is the cheapest option to power our meters. If we can generate power at MEA for $1, and I'm just using that as just a plug-in number, and a neighboring utility can do it for 95 cents, we buy it from the neighboring utility because it's cheaper for you. We don't need to be burning that gas at our power plant. We can move it to another during a period where it's going to save our members costs. We're also researching and exploring joint projects together. I already mentioned the renewable and clean energy projects, expansion of a solar farm, partnering with a couple of large wind farms. And by working together on these larger scale projects, we can keep costs down by taking advantage of economies of scale. Also, active participant in what's called the Rail Belt Reliability Council. Its acronym is RRC. It was created by state lawmakers 4 years ago, and it ensures that the joint planning and reliability of our rail belt system meets the reliability standards that are set. I'll go to the governor's task force. Mentioned that briefly. Last year, I was appointed by the governor to serve the governor's energy security task force. The main purpose of the group is to develop a comprehensive statewide energy plan that evaluates energy generation, distribution, and transmission for our communities. I was fortunate enough to chair the Rail Belt Energy Subcommittee, along with the CEO of Renewable IPP and developer of the Houston Solar, Jen Miller. After months of research and discussions, public process, hours of meetings, and testimony, the committee came up with 3 primary recommendations I'm going to touch on. The first step in meeting future energy needs, including transmission upgrades, energy diversification, and development of an incentive-based energy standard, and growing load fixed costs for kilowatt hours. If we have more members who are using more power, it spreads those fixed costs over a greater number of meters, meaning rates go down, or we keep them going up. We identified 3 priorities for the future of the electric system. The top priority identified and critical first step on the path is to unify and upgrade our transmission system. This transmission system, you'll hear me refer to this as the backbone grid or the electric highway. It is the transmissions of lines that connect us from the interior of the Fairbanks all the way down to the Kenai. This is what allows us to move that power around, especially when somebody's got something cheaper than we can generate, and it's available for you, our members. Currently, our transmission system operates like an extension cord rather than an effective grid like they have in the other 48 states. we are pretty limited on the both the amount of power we can stuff on the system as well as how much we can count on it, which limits our options to small projects within our service area with higher costs and fewer available resources. Yeah, if we want to get to that economy of scale in this future as natural gas, so that we can be dependent on the energy that's generated in our state from resources that the state and rate. We can see a day when rates go down. It's essential, though, that we upgrade the system, move past and move and sell power, create more resilience, and develop a flowing electron highway that eliminates the toll. We want to develop the energy standards that are strong incentives and not penalties. I mentioned that legislation that that would impose penalties that I don't think it could go anywhere. Also, collaboration with the utilities. We put focus on diversification of power to you year-round reliability that will ultimately reduce the cost of energy and help us to reach our long-term energy security, because it's liability is basic security. If you get the fuel, that's not reliable. Talk about constraints on the railroad grid. There are three major constraints on our grid that stands between us and the future. First is technical constraint. As I mentioned, inadequate and outdated transmission or physical infrastructure that doesn't allow us to move the amount of power we need between the ring. This means we can't count on our purchases places around the region by the need, which requires us to have all of our generation right here in our service territory. We also have economic constraints with our existing rail grid. Right now, each utility owns miles or so, a little over 100 miles of that grid. Our bank offer each of us charges. Yeah, our cycle as it moves from the distance to the other. What this does is really distorts costs, otherwise economic beneficial projects. Work with our colleagues to change the way we cover these costs. You're right. You can bring on good projects. We also identified institutional stuff utility see their portion of the grid, not necessarily for the overall system. This lack of management and operation of these transmission assets has caused issues. And it's cost you, our members, for decades, and we're working on a way to jointly manage the grid and eliminate that obstacle, allowing us to economies of scale for future generation. Okay, help our economic and technical constraints, because the achievement late last year of a $206.5 million grant received to transmission grid and will allow the integration of future larger scale energy projects. We're expecting the state to match the grant, which will provide over $413 million to develop transformers into a first modern grid. But what does all that mean? It means that the federal government, whether to use support or not, has issued billions in incentives for transforming power generation and the grid across the country. I understand that money comes from someplace, meaning taxpayers, but if the government is going to issue these types of grants to facilitate infrastructure improvements that will lead to lower rates, we made the decision with the other utilities to make an application, and we achieved the 5th largest grant in the United States. What's critical to us is if we had to go to you all to get this $400 million to build the second line we need from the Kenai Peninsula, into this region, rates would go up, and I'm not so sure you would feel good about the slight improvement in reliability. But on a future perspective, as we want to diversify the fuel supply portfolio, what this will do, having been paid for by other than our members, again, aside from the taxpayer consideration, is that it will allow us access to these larger scale projects and more reliability by building out a second transmission line from the Kenai Peninsula up to the Fairbanks area, which then creates a situation where we have a first world grid, not a second or third world power grid. I'm going to touch on a lesson learned from Iceland. I was really grateful that I was able to join a policy tour with legislators this last fall. Had the opportunity to travel to Iceland. Other energy organizations joined us to see firsthand how they developed a sustainable energy system responsibly. Iceland's actually a great place to investigate because they're very similar to Alaska in many ways with our environment, meaning our climate. Their population is half our state's population. Their land mass is about 1/17 this size, so there are many differences, but there are many similarities. And their natural resources are fewer than we have. One thing that we have in common is that we're both islanded. We're not physically connected to the lower 48 with our energy infrastructure, and they're not connected to Europe with theirs. So a few decades, they were relying on imported oil to generate power. They had very high rates, and they made some critical decisions that we think were lessons learned for Alaska. They made key investments in transmission, made key investments in larger scale power generation, bigger than, say, one utility might need. And those significant but focused investments led to a booming economy where predictably priced power has led to economic development, private sector investment, entrepreneurial partnerships requiring little to no government subsidies moving forward. And what really hit home was that vision and policy really do matter. It's crucial that we invest in our vision and craft policy and processes that will create energy security and independence for all of us. This will be the foundation for the future growth and economic development of our home. And I want to give you some real-world examples. As I moved around Iceland in around freezing temperatures last October, I had a chance to talk to residential consumers who had their windows open, wide open. And I asked, what is your electric bill every month? And when you did the calculation between, I think their currency is kroners to US dollars, it was about $20 for a month. And they kept all the lights on. And they have glaciers too. But again, it's because of that vision and that investment in the backbone infrastructure that really allowed them to achieve a vision. Let's move on. I know you really want to get to member comments. You have other things on the agenda, and so I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for your time and appreciation, or I appreciate your time and your attention. I know that I've covered a lot of different topics and information. I could spend hours going into details. I wouldn't wish that on you. To summarize it, your co-op's next steps are to secure a short and midterm fuel supply while maintaining long-term flexibility as we work towards that vision and plan. And that vision is to have a more diverse supply of energy, so if one of them go down, reliability of your power is still there without higher rates. We believe that development of a unified transmission system will allow for greater reliability, efficiency, and resiliency. It also provides more options to leverage our immense resources to diversify our energy portfolio and increase our energy security. Remember, you are our members. I don't need to remind you of that, and you're at the heart of what we do. So please, as President Kindig said, share your ideas, your thoughts, your concerns, and solutions with us as we go through this together. Thank you so much for listening to me and being involved in your electric co-op. The moment you've been waiting for. I will now step down and invite Angela Hobby from the MEA Charitable Foundation up to the podium to give an update on how our members are investing and supporting the communities we serve through Operation Roundup. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Tony. Hello, my name is Angela Hobby, and I am one of the MEA member volunteers that serves on the Charitable Foundation Board. The foundation provides grants to organizations and nonprofits in our local communities from the change that's donated by MEA members, that's you, through the Operation Roundup program. Every month, more than 60% of MEA members have their electric bill rounded up to the nearest dollar. And all that extra change goes into supporting the local community, organizations, and causes that we all love. Another great thing about the foundation is that our board consists of all volunteers, and not a single penny goes towards any administrative or operational costs of this program. Since the Operation Roundup program was started in 2011, MEA members have provided more than $2.4 million in grants to local organizations across MEA's service territory. And just this last year, in 2023, the total amount of grants given to the community was just over $225,000 across 33 different organizations. We can't thank our MEA members enough who contribute to Operation Roundup and the difference that you make. It's amazing to see the variety of community causes our grants support, from recreation to the arts, youth organizations, family services, public safety, and much more. We love to see new applicants and serve new needs each quarter, so please help in spreading the word about Operation Roundup and let your favorite community organizations and nonprofits know about our program and grant assistance. Feel free to visit our table after today's meeting and speak with some of our representatives to learn a little bit more about where those funds are being invested and ask any questions that you might have. At this time, I'd like to invite Board President Bill Kendig back up to resume the business of the annual meeting. Thank you.
So next up, we have unfinished business, and there is no unfinished business from 2023. And next up again is new business, and we have no new business to bring to the body at this time. I would now like to invite CEO Tony Izzo up to the podium for the member comments portion of this meeting. I'm back. No slides, and I won't be going into excruciating detail. This is an important time of the meeting. This is member comments. Thank you, President Kindig. If you're in the room and you wish to be heard, please come forward. There's a microphone right down here on the side aisle, and then following in-person comments, we'll provide members on Zoom the opportunity to provide comments. If you are on Zoom, when it's time, please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand icon if you're on a computer. And if you're on the phone, you can press *9. Our annual meeting coordinator will give you speaking capabilities when it's your turn to make a comment. When instructed, please, or when you come forward with your member comments, please provide us your name, first and last name for the record. And then you can provide your comments, which are limited to 3 minutes. We'll start with comments here in the room. And I would welcome listening to each and every one of you. Again, take your time making your way down to the microphone here at the front of the stage.
Welcome. Thank you. My name is George Will. I've been a member since 1987. I have to say that I've been here for 52 years in Alaska, and our power supply has become much more reliable over the years. And I would dare say that out here in the valley, we're a lot more reliable than in Anchorage. However, the comments I have are there seems to be a lot of animus towards power generation from the Susitna River. Everybody assumes that you need to build a dam across the river in order to get power from it. New York State, around the Niagara area, is one of the largest hydropower producing areas in the country, if not the world. They have no dams across the river. With a little engineering and a little foresight, it would be possible to provide hydropower using the waters of the Susitna River without damming it. And I think that that is something that needs to be looked at. And I think people who are so anti using the Susitna River need to reevaluate their thoughts on the matter as well. I would like to see a lot more sustainable power supply. And I appreciate your comments, Tony, because you demonstrated a lot of, the problems we have. The other thing is everybody seems to think that wind and solar are the saving grace. And what people don't realize is that the environmental impacts are not readily available or seen at the local level. They're back where the materials and equipment are created for the solar and wind generation. There is a lot more environmental impact than most people realize. And I appreciate the opportunity to make these comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Will.
My name's Gwen Taylor, and I had a question on the financial report. It seems to me it said 10 cents out of every dollar is paying interest. Now, is that interest on debt that our co-op has, or is that, what interest is that?
It is interest on debt that co-op has.
So why are we paying back capital credits instead of paying off our debt and saving that 10 cents on the dollar and then putting that towards capital credit in the future?
Well, this being
Just something to be thought of.
really appreciate the comment.
And then the thing that came up was the previous gentleman just made me think too on the wind. I've heard a lot of worn out wind farms already that it's not recyclable with those propellers that need to be replaced and a lot of this other stuff. So that's a big question too in terms of clean and sustainable.
President Kindig was just saying that, please to any and all of you, don't hesitate to call into the board meeting as well, our monthly meetings with these type of comments. But thank you for being here. Appreciate the comments.
Hi, Stephanie Jeffers, talking just about a couple things that I've been missing. I appreciate that MEA stays up to date with your website, but I've really missed having a search function just to make things easily accessible, whether it's looking up the annual meeting or the surplus sales. Having a search function on the website has been super functional in the past, and it's been missing. I would also say that I have missed GVEA has a electric charger that they provide. Homer has an electric charger that they provide. Chugach has electric chargers that from the power companies they provide, usually at a cost to people who are charging. But I would be interested in MEA having theirs available. I know that we have our electric truck that you guys drive around, but I'd be interested in that potentially as a source of income for the co-op, but also as a way to serve members as electric vehicles are getting more popular. Just something that I would love to have considered, and I'd be happy to call into the meetings. Thanks.
Thank you. Good covered.
Hello, I'm Kat Burgoyne. I'm actually brand new to MEA, just moved to Chukiak, and I saw your discussion of renewable energy. Some of this is a little bit redundant with the first guy who came up and commented that wind and solar have a whole lot of materials costs and non-recyclable components. But I'd also like to see more attention paid to geothermal, particularly given where we are in the world. Alaska's right on the ring of fire. We're a very geologically active area. And I know there's a large initial investment in getting geothermal off the ground. I'm pretty sure that's the main barrier to it. But I know you were talking about having gone to Iceland, and they have 65% of their power from geothermal.
And that's part of how they have those rock bottom costs.
Yeah, I do, this is member comment, and I use a little bit of privilege to sometimes answer questions that don't necessarily have to. This is for the board, to hear from you, the member owners, and certainly for me, having been to Iceland, yes, they're approximately 70% is hydropower, 25 to 30 is geothermal. And I want to assure everybody here that all sources of clean energy are on the table. So geothermal is something that this strategic implementation division that I formed is working on, as well as nuclear, as well as carbon sequestration. Really, I believe that it is my role, based on what this board has directed me, is I'm the steward of your resources. I manage the day-to-day operation of the co-op, and I appreciate these kinds of comments. I want to reassure everybody that we are looking at everything, including some of the shorter lifespans of some of the like wind and solar projects. One of the reasons that we worked and partnered with Renewable IPP is that you, as members, we don't own the Houston Solar Farm. So we're going to take that power from them. And I'm not saying this is a response to your question, because you're raising a good comment, but in terms of the lifespan of that, that's their problem. You as co-op members are not going to be on the hook for what to do with those kinds of things. It doesn't mean we should or shouldn't be involved. I just wanted to reassure everybody that what you're referencing is being factored into our thinking and planning. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Michelle Dempsey. I've lived in the Matsu Valley for 22 years. I just had a thought about the Roundup program, and maybe this is a better comment to make afterwards, but with prices going up, we know we have future prices going up with our energy shortage among us. Why can't some of that money that we round up go back to the people paying their bills? Why can't it go back to the co-op? Maybe some of it goes to the nonprofits, and maybe people paying their bills with all the energy hikes. Maybe they get a rebate check. Maybe it goes back to the members. I don't know if that's a possibility. I'm for helping other people as well, but times are tight, and I don't know why we can't get some of that money back to put towards our costs of our increasing energy bills.
Thank you for the comment. Just a clarification, it is an optional program. You don't have to participate in Roundup program. So as a member, we certainly understand inflation and costs going up, and that's at your option. So again, thank you for the comment. Are there others? Member comments? You're letting me off pretty easy here.
We do have a few online, Tony.
Great. Let's go online, Sabrina.
Sure. The first person is Jessica Mallow. Jessica, if you can please unmute, and you are on to speak. Okay. It looks like we did have all of our questions that were typed into the chat. And so if you do have a question online and can't seem to unmute, please type it into the question. The first one says, it is from Leverett Hoover. With the cost of utilities, any thoughts about helping out our hometown heroes, Guard and reservists that live in the Valley? Could be through charitable grants, but maybe even consider a reduction in fees. I think definitely worth a consideration for the board. Oh.
Have to dial in. Oh,
Sorry. All right. The next one is from Dan Kennedy. And Dan Kennedy says, thank you, MEA, for your leadership, helping create a strong and diversified private sector economy for our growing Matsu Valley Go MEA team. And then the last is from Anna Utz. Clean energy still requires oil to function, such as turbines. Turbines kill wild birds, such as golden eagles and bald eagles. How is that helping the environment as top predators balance ecosystems?
I'm sensing a theme.
And it looks like we have one more person with their hand raised, and that is Kim Lee. Kim Lee, if you'd like to unmute.
Yes.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
As somebody who grew up in Kansas, wind power is something that was pushed very heavily. Wind power is not renewable with the amount of industrial waste materials needed to be transported great distances. It would benefit our community to invest in geothermal, which is renewable and locally produced, rather than invest in these ginormous wind turbines that can't, as other people have said, are not recyclable. They kill the wildlife and they produce so much industrial waste. You're not actually benefiting the environment by using it. And then solar has its own issues with, again, industrial waste, the lack of being able to use it during certain times of the year. I feel like the amounts of actual clean renewable energy that is available to us is different than what is in the lower 48. I mean, solutions that work for them do not work for us, and it's ridiculous to expect us to be at 80% renewable. If that deadline was removed at the legislative level, how would that impact MEA moving forward?
Thank you for the comment, and just to offer maybe some clarification, I believe what I heard had to do with a deadline that the legislature might put into law. It doesn't look like that's happening. It looks more like the legislature is going to offer incentives for new generation to come online versus having penalties so that we can diversify our energy supply portfolio. Everything that I'm hearing includes everything from nuclear to abated coal, where carbon is sequestered underground in old fields. So it appears that's the way things are moving. I guess the bottom line is that we have a very hard deadline. Want to be always transparent with members. I'm very optimistic that we can get this issue solved. The board is very dedicated, the staff is very dedicated, but as of April 1 of 2028, that might seem like a long time, but it's not in our business. We don't have any gas under contract. Now, we might resolve some of that. We're talking to all the producers. That would be the cheapest, easiest solution. We also, on a parallel path, want to diversify so that we can provide you with more reliable options in the future. Are there other online comments, Sabrina? Because I see we have someone back in the room that's in the queue.
Yes, we just have two that were typed in. I can read really quickly. One says, is Jacqueline Wilkerson? And she says, when will the power line conversion start? Moving power lines above ground to below ground. And then one from Sandy Walker. Glacial melt amongst all the other climate changes makes sense since more methane is surfacing from geothermal sources. Wouldn't it be productive to our future possible energy sources to tap into the new, undeniable, and upcoming source? And I'm sorry, one more from Colleen Fisk. I hope that people remember that it's not either renewables or non-renewables, but that it's both, and that non-renewables also have a terrible impact on the environment, usually much more so than renewables. I also haven't heard discussion about efficiency options. I hope that the board pursues those as well. And that is all for online.
Thank you. And I can assure the group we are looking at all of those things, including efficiency. Please step forward, your name.
Honestly, that. And my question isn't we know those ones, but it has to do with cost savings. And has MEA ever considered doing a deregulation election? So there would be the savings in all the filings and requirements on a rate filing. With a strong board, they could do the rate regulation.
Yes, thank you for that comment. And I'm going to make some comments in response. Yes, the cooperative statutes in the state of Alaska allow, with a vote of the membership, to move away from the economic regulation by the Regulatory Commission of Alaska. We do spend a significant amount in regulatory filings each year, especially if things are contested. There are a couple of different sides to this. From one perspective, it's nice to have regulatory oversight in the sense that they provide certainty for us to go to our lenders to get the best rates, because we know that we have the state backing the decision to enter into a power purchase agreement or to build some infrastructure. On the other hand, of the majority of co-ops that serve 64% of the United States population, we are one of only a handful in the country that are regulated by a public utility commission. So it is a membership option. I would close with saying that the last co-op that tried to do this was just a few years ago on the Kenai Peninsula, and it failed miserably. It is something that does come up and is discussed by this board, though. Thank you for your comment. Yeah, and just right. MTA was successful in doing so, and the commission indicated, again, not wanting to take a for or against position. So just for information, the commission did state that there is a lot of competition for telecom and internet services. If you don't like this one, you can go to that one. And on the electric side, you don't have that choice unless you self-generate. But I can promise you it's something that we're always looking at, because efficiencies, cost savings, doing more with what we have and the technology we've invested in is a priority for me and your leadership. Any other member comments? Not hearing any. I want to thank all of the members who provided comments this afternoon. Your input and feedback is really important to us. And I'm going to invite Julie Esty back up here for preliminary election results. Thank you.
Well, hi, everyone. Hi. Trying to keep everybody awake here. Okay. So, thank you, Tony. So each year, our member-led election committee works on behalf of each of you. Their job is to provide election oversight and to ensure that our elections adhere to our bylaws and are executed in a manner with transparency and fairness. We would like to thank our election committee who puts their time in every year and their hard work this year to make sure that all of the different steps and processes are followed. We'd also like to thank our election overseer, Fosselman and Associates, for providing a seamless election process for our co-op members. I would now like to invite Election Committee Chair Carrie Klein to read the preliminary 2024 District Board seat election results.
Good evening. I'm Carrie Klein, and I'm on the election committee, and I've got a couple things before results. One is there's been a change in how we are scheduling our elections. I had talked to a lot of people tonight who were concerned that, they weren't voting, and from here on out, we're going to have everybody voting every year. We've distributed the at-large seats, so you will be able to vote every year. The other good news I have is that our turnout was 12% this year, which may not sound huge, but it's up from the standard. So way to go, East and West, you did it. And as your election committee works with the MEA staff and election overseers, we are member volunteers. And if you're interested in how the election runs and want to be a part of it, let MEA know you can join us. And now for results. In Susitna East, there were 2 candidates. Daniel Baldwin got 495 votes for 35%, and Maxwell Sumner got 916 votes for 65%. Congratulations, Maxwell. For the Susitna West Board seat, Darren Kessler got 133 votes for 7.3%. Heinrich Wessel got 824 votes for 45.2%. And Bill Kendig got 865 votes for 47.5%. Congratulations, Bill. All right, thanks very much.
Thank you, Carrie, and to the entire election committee for all you do. The 2024 district board seat election results will be certified at a regular board meeting on May 13th at 4 p.m. in the boardroom at Palmer headquarters, if anybody is interested in attending that either in person or online. I'd now like to invite our scholarship program coordinator and woman behind the scenes of all of the Zoom crazy, Sabrina Combs, to the stage to announce this year's scholarship winners.
Thank you, Julie. This year, our scholarship committee reviewed 97 applications. A total of $25,000 is being awarded to 8 recipients who will be receiving scholarships ranging anywhere from $2,000 to $7,500. We'd like to thank our member-led scholarship committee for their time and effort in reviewing all of these wonderful candidates. And I think Nick is here. Can I invite you up here to help hand out these big, giant, fake checks? I bet you didn't know you were coming up on stage. You'll just have to go right through that door. Oh, yes, please. Please bring your assistant. All right, and then if any of these winners are here with us today, please come forward to be recognized. You'll just go right through that door and follow those little arrows on the floor. All right, winning a $2,000 scholarship, Matthew Fleischhacker, a Chugiak resident and senior at Chugiak High School. Matthew will be attending college this fall to major in horticulture. Matthew here today? No. Just right there. Perfect. Winning a $2,000 scholarship, Sahara Brenter, a Trapper Creek resident and an IDEA homeschool student who will be attending the University of Alaska Fairbanks this fall to major in biology. I think she's right there. You can give her this big fake check. There we go. There's Sahara. Thank you. And you can just stay up here on the stage. Thank you. Winning a $2,000 scholarship, Kelsey Reifel, an Eagle River resident and senior at Eagle River High School. Kelsey will be attending Northeastern University to major in behavioral neuroscience. Congratulations, Kelsey. Winning a $2,000 scholarship, Mackenzie Edgar. A Palmer resident and senior at Palmer High School, Mackenzie will be attending Vanderbilt University in Nashville this fall on a pre-med track. Thanks, Mackenzie. So exciting that they're here. Okay, winning a $2,000 scholarship, Mary Clark, Palmer resident and senior at Palmer High School. Mary will be attending Bemidji State University to major in history this fall. There's Mary. Winning a $2,500 scholarship, Tyler Swartz, a Wasilla resident and senior at Matsu Career Tech School. Tyler will be attending the College of Idaho to study mathematics. There's Tyler. Winning a $5,000 scholarship, Grayson Miller, a Palmer resident and senior at Matsu Career Tech. Grayson will be attending Southern Utah University to major in entrepreneurship and finance. It's Grayson. Thank you. And last, winning a $7,500 scholarship, Lily Sessom, a Palmer resident and recent graduate of Boise State University Honors College. Lily will be attending medical school through the University of Washington School of Medicine WWAMI program in Anchorage. Congratulations to Lily. She's going to be a doctor. Thank you so much, and congratulations to this year's winners.
Thank you, Sabrina. It's pretty awesome to see the amazing applications that we received from our students and to see students really from all over our service territory. So good luck and congratulations. All right, now what you guys have really all been waiting for is the prizes. So please know you've got to be present to win. So all of you guys that are still here are thinking, maybe I get double chances. All right, so if you win something, you can jump up and cheer, and that would be fun. But at the end of the meeting, come down here, and Sabrina will meet you and give you whatever you want. Okay, so prize one. Our first prize is the Retired Fleet Snow Machine, valued at $2,120. The member that has won this is Hiram and Mako Pendergrass. All right, nice job, guys. Enjoy that. And that comes like if we need some help clearing, like we're just going to call on you guys. So you better be ready if there's an outage. Just kidding. All right, the second prize includes a battery-powered electric weed whacker. I got one of these last year. I'm loving it. It's valued at $290, and the member who has won this prize is Carol Cross, who's attending online. Congratulations, Carol. The third prize is a battery-powered electric leaf blower, also valued at $290. And the member who's won this prize is Jana Spendlove. Jana, I think you're here. Congratulations. The fourth prize is a battery backup surge protector valued at $120. And the member who won this is Catherine Cottle, who I think is here as well. Congratulations. All right, so the next one is our voting members. We'd like to announce the winner of the 10,000 kilowatts of electricity for a whole year from our Susitna West and Susitna East members who voted in the district election this year. The winner was selected from all the members who voted, whether they're here or not. And the person that won the year of electricity is Michael J. Koskovich. Yeah, I'm not sure he made it, but he voted, and that is what's key. Michael's from Meadow Lakes, and he's been a member since 2004. So thank you for voting. I now invite Board President Kendig back up to the podium to close out this year's 2024 annual meeting.
And with that, our meeting is concluded. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. And if you can state your name. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Got a motion and a second? Okay. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.